All right, this is a week 8. Next week is spring break. This podcast will be short, but will not keep you long at all. So tonight we're going to be going over classes, more classes, and specifically we'll be covering a couple examples and then going over on constructors for an exercise you'll have to complete through Replit. But first, go ahead and check in. Make sure to do the reading this week. Solo Learn this week is on templates, exceptions, and files. And tonight we're going to talk about Stack. You might have heard of the website popular Stack Overflow.com. It's a popular website for programmers to go to help people with programming questions, plus to, as a programmer yourself, to help others with programming questions. But the word stack, the reason they call it Stack Overflow is because of this reason right here. It's part of what's called an abstract class structure, which stores data, last in, first out. Typically, a stack has 3 main operations: a push, which adds data to the top of the stack; a pop, which removes the last item on the top of the stack; and top, which gets the object on the top of the stack. When an object is pushed on the stack, it sits on top of this object that was pushed last. If a push operation exceeds the upper bounds of the stack is considered to be overflown. When an object is popped from the stack, the last object that was pushed onto the stack is removed. If a pop operation exceeds the lower bounds of the stack is considered in the state of underflow. So that's what stack is. A heap in memory is an area of memory which can be increased or decreased in size. The area of memory sits between the memory map region on shared libraries and the runtime heap. The area of memory is used for dynamic memory allocation. Beyond the memory mapping region for shared binaries resides the program's stack. And then a buffer is typically an area of memory which is used to transfer data from one location to the other. In some cases, a buffer is used to hold data from a data disk while its data is being manipulated and operations are being performed. So we're going to look at 2 examples tonight, and then we're going to do, you're going to follow the comments in the second example and share your Replit in a 8 exercise. And then this is actually a solution if you need to look at it for the constructor exercise. So let's look at the instances first. Okay, so in this program, you've got a class called MIT Student. It's a public class, and it has a constant name, it's a char, and an integer student ID. A common class we use to be over and over again: name of student, char, and ID. In the main, we declare MIT Student for student 1 and 2, and student 3. And student 1, declare name and student ID. Student 2, name and ID. And student 3, name and ID. And then do a simple cout to show you how that works. Let's go ahead and run it. So the cout student 1, student 2, and student 3, both name and ID of that class. And so in here, we're declaring a class, inheriting the class instance, and then reinitiating that class instance over and over again. And so instances are used quite a bit in programming to duplicate, where you have duplicate of entries, which in this case were like a student entry, and duplicate of data, redundancy of data that's going to be used over and over again. So that is an instance. Next, we're going to look at constructor. Okay, in this one, the constructor is called point, and it is a public point. It has in it two doubles and a calc. All of them are doubles. Then it points to a declaration function called point, and inside of that has an argument of two doubles. Inside of that, it's got takes those two doubles and calculates them together into variable calc. So in the main here, I've got just done two parameter constructor, which has in it two variables or two doubles, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. When we run this app initially, it's not going to do anything because we're not really seeing anything out. I'll do the first one for you. We're going to create a C out for the first constructor, second constructor, C out for the calc. Then we're going to copy that constructor. And the way you copy a constructor is basically the word point and then the name of the constructor that you want it to be named or copied to and from. So point, constructor, to copy constructor, the word point, space, the name you want it to be, the name it's coming from. When we do that, the contents of that constructor will now be a part of, in this case, A, will now become all of P's constructors, which would be, in this case, X, Y, and calc. So then we're going to create a C out for the first constructor in A, C out for second constructor A, and then third, which is calc. So I'll go ahead and do the first couple for you, and then you can finish the rest. So C out, and we're going to see out the first instance of constructor P. And so you'll notice when I type in the dot that you have the constructors pop up for you. Y, calc, and X. So we're going to go ahead and do the X. All right, so I'm just going to do the first one here, run it. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. I'll let you do the second and calc. And then to copy, I'm going to do it differently. I want you to copy with the copy the constructor to the letter A. I'm going to make in this example B. By just doing that variable right there, or that declaration right there, I've now all the contents of P constructor now copied to B. All right, and if I was to C out, notice everything is available to me as it was for P. Now it's available in B. All right, so you're going to finish the rest of it on your own. See two C outs at the top for second and third constructor. Second is and third is calc, and then you'll create your own constructor copy, and I want you to call it A instead of B. And then you're going to kick out the first constructor, second constructor, and calc. Once you're done, replit that, copy the replit, name it constructor, and share it. Once you share it, I want you to share it into week 8 exercise, okay? And you should have a URL submittal box to do that. You can click on this to see the answer if you need it, but try not to look at this first to see if you can get it without that, okay? Next, assignment 8, let's look at that. I told you I was not going to keep you long tonight. All right, in this one, you're going to write a program to input 2 integers in a main and pass them to a default constructor of a class. Show the result of the addition of 2 numbers. So in this one, we're going to do a sum class constructor. And so an example would be you'll enter in the first number 10, second number 5, numbers initialized, and then give the results of that. So by using the examples we did tonight, you should easily be able to do that. For a challenge for this week, instead of having 2 integers, let's go ahead and have like 5 integers and have them add together those 5 integers in a default constructor. All right, cool. All right, well, that's it for the week 8 assignment. You'll submit it when you're done, as always. Review questions, as always. And discussion, as always. Reminder, next week is spring break. Try to take a few days off from classes you have on campus. We'll be coming back online that first week back, going over more on classes. So hope you have a great spring break, and I will see you online in a couple weeks.